And I'm going to continue on this thread of psychic self-defense and understanding chords. Now, I know that I talked about chords and what energetic chords do, relating it to like a cord going into a phone to take its energy. But I also want to talk about what it feels like to be chorded in different areas and where typically chords latch into. Now, unfortunately, that is a much grander subject of where chords can latch into. But some of the more common areas that chords enter into or become attached to are our major seven chakra centers. So if we can think of our major energetic chakras or our major seven chakras, we have the crown, we have the agya, we have the throat, the heart, the solar plexus, the sacral, and the root. Now, each of these chakra points are extremely potent wheels of energy. And these energies, they feed our being and are our main bridge into this world, so to speak. And I can go into a much larger description of chakras and how they look like and what they do. But for right now, we're going to stick on this theme of chords and chording in those certain chakras and what that may feel like. So let's start with the basic chakra or the Muladhara chakra, which is the root chakra. The root chakra is kind of the foundation of our being. It is our concrete foundation of our house. It is our manifestation of wealth. It is our energy house. It is our generator, so to speak, of our energy in our system. And oftentimes, when we feel that we're like super energized in the morning, we go out and we have that interaction, and all of a sudden we feel like I have absolutely no energy. This can be a sign of getting corded in your root chakra. Another thing can be like financially, you're having a very hard time and money's not coming to you as easily as it typically does, and you feel like there's a lack of motivation to do things that bring money into your life. Well, that can be another sign of root chakra, either deficiency or being corded. So oftentimes we have to double check, and I will typically start asking somebody, okay, how are you feeling day to day? Oh, I feel like, I have low energy. I feel like I don't have motivation. Well, I'm going to look in your root chakra for any kind of cordings. Next, we'll go up to the sacral chakra. The sacral chakra is the creative chakra, the sexual chakra. It's another powerhouse. Um, and not don't think of the Dantian because we'll get into more complex versions of the Dantian. The Dantian is like the physical battery, but as very basic as we can go, the sacral chakra is another battery of energy. It's the battery of creativity. And when that's often corded, it's a bit of a gross happening. It's usually because somebody's looking at us in a lustful way. Somebody is thinking about us sexually, or old partners often accord into our sacral chakra. So if you have that toxic ex-partner that writes you every now and again and says, "Oh, I miss you," I would definitely start to look into the sacral chakra area. You may notice this chakra, just like the basic chakra, is starting to feel heavy and tired. But another thing you may feel is like a strange sexual energy, something it may be paired with like sexual imaginations or so forth and so on. And that chakra, the sacral chakra, is also linked to the throat chakra. So if I ever find that the sacral chakra is blocked or corded, I'll often check the throat chakra, both the front and the back of that chakra, to see if there's cording as well. The creative, this is the lower creativity, this is the higher creativity. And so oftentimes when the lower creativity is blocked or corded, the higher creativity or the expression of such is blocked as well. And actually, skipping a couple of steps, this back throat chakra is probably the most corded area I ever find in people. It's super, super, super common. Okay, going up again into the sacral chakra, from the sacral chakra into the solar plexus. The solar plexus is the sun. This is your willpower. This is your inner strength. This is your fortification of will, so to speak. And I often see this related to the Agya chakra, the third eye. And so when we're in situations like working in front of groups of people or having to give presentations, and we notice that we're kind of covering our solar plexus, it's kind of like a lack of confidence. That's usually because in those circumstances of being there and presenting to people, we do get corded in those centers because we're showing this strength of will, this drive. We're showing our sun. We are the brightest thing in the sky, so to speak, in that room energetically. And so, when we feel uncomfortable or, we may just notice that we unnatural or naturally just cover our solar plexus. And that's just to defend that energy center, especially when it's been corded. And usually when I see people covering their solar plexus to some degree, I check for chords because there's some depletion in that energy. When it's strong and it's bright and the person is not corded and that chakra is imbalanced, there is a confidence, there is a solar energy being emitted from that individual. So yeah, the cording of that can feel like a lack of confidence, a lack of willpower, a lack of inner strength, so to speak. This can be paired with a lot of negative thoughts. So just be aware of like when you're starting to cover your solar plexus. Uh, were you in a situation where you had to present your will, where you had to present yourself to the world, and were you covering yourself or hiding from the world? And I'll see this connected with the heart a lot as well. Now, the heart chakra, this big, beautiful, shining green ball that exists, that is at the center of your chest. And you can just think these as, you know, imaginary points of energy, but there are these points of energy in the being. Um, the heart chakra, I often see related kind of similarly to like a heaviness. Sorry, like is our joy, our bread and butter. This is kind of like the golden center of the halfway point in between the higher and the lower. And in the heart chakra, I often notice like when we're corded there, it's usually like a sadness, like an overwhelming sadness. And I'll find other chords that relate to the lungs as well, and sometimes even into the physical heart, which I'm pointing high because I'm trying to show it on the camera here. But yeah, the heart chakra in itself is another center. It's the center of love. It's the center of passion, but not passion like lower passion, but a higher passion, a higher calling. And so, I even see like sometimes people will, cover their heart. And sometimes when people lay down for healings, they'll just kind of unnaturally lay their hands over their chest to cover their heart. And that's usually a sign of a depletion there or a sign of cording in the heart as well. Um, if you ever feel corded in the heart, this can usually be I also find this tied in with the throat chakra as well. But if you ever find that there's a cording in the heart, you can see that there's like almost like a caving in of the chest, um, or there's a depletion in that chakra itself. But that caving in is again to protect the chakra. It can be coupled with like a sadness, a general sadness. It be coupled with a heaviness. Oftentimes, like if I ever get corded in my heart, I just feel like depressed, like oddly depressed. Like I don't know where that came from. That's just I'm sad. Um, and usually it's also like something isn't. You can feel like you need to say something, but you can't, and you just kind of hold it in, and there's a tightness or a heaviness in the chest. So just these are signs of where the heart could be congested or corded from individuals. Moving up into the throat chakra. The throat chakra is like I said, higher creativity, the higher expression. Um, it's also just creativity. It's also expression itself. Other things I can think of are um, like being honest. And so sometimes what I'll notice in recordings with the throat is that there was a lack of expressing one's truth. There was a lack of honesty and from another individual, and then they kind of cord your throat in that process. But also, what you'll feel is almost like a tightness here in the throat. It almost feels like there's like phlegm or like a kind of a cold coming on. But I'll notice once my throat is corded, it's usually because I was expressing something. I was expressing a truth of some sort, and it hurt somebody's feelings, and they kind of wanted me to shut up. Hey, man, shut up. And in that, they kind of cord your throat. There'll be a cord to the throat, especially the front and the back, and an inability to actually express that is felt behind that. So being aware of when this throat chakra closes or when you're starting to feel it get corded is oftentimes where you feel you have to express a truth, where you feel you have to uh, show yourself creatively, either through words or art. And it can feel like a tightness in the throat. There can feel like a fear almost in the throat. And this is a very challenging chakra for a lot of people, just the clarity of expression, the openness of expression, of creativity. So I know it was a huge challenge for me personally, like even doing a YouTube channel and talking about all these things. It's a big thing. And so in that I can feel when, oh, okay, I'm starting to withdraw or I'm starting to close that chakra even by myself. So not everything is chords. A lot of it is our own responsibility, and being aware of where we allow chords to come in is very important. The next is the Agya chakra or the third eye chakra. This is another very common one that I notice when people want you to do something based on their will. Uh, I can think of a really good example of an authority figure in my life when they were telling me what to do. Their agya almost felt like painful or pointy, and it would almost like pierce me. And apparently, according to my wife, I have the exact same thing. So I've, inherited this very pointy agya chakra. It's like an imposition of will if used negatively. So be aware of that. But when that happens, or when somebody wants us to think in a way that's very similar to them, we may feel a chording in our Agya chakra, and sometimes related to the back head minor chakra as well. So being aware that there is a front and a back to most of these chakras, but they can be chorded. They can be chorded, and the signs and symbols are in the interactions with the individuals. So it's always being aware of how individuals are interacting with you and how you're leaving those situations feeling. Um, and where, of course, we are allowing that person to drain our energy to some degree. That is also our main responsibility in psychic self-defense is knowing where I'm allowing or where we're allowing individuals to cord into us or to take from us energetically. Um, so yeah, Agya chakra, once it's corded, can feel like negative thoughts, bad thoughts, obsessive thoughts about that person or individual or that situation. Um, it can feel like a heaviness in the mind or a cloudiness in the mind. It can feel like there's a lack of energy to think. And so really be aware of when these, chords can happen, especially to our mind. When you start to notice, okay, I'm starting to notice I'm having a lot of negative thoughts that don't feel like they're exactly mine. I did just have an interaction with this person and they were just talking about this thing. So why am I thinking like that? That's a huge indicator of being corded to your Agya chakra. And it's a very common cord or a very common chakra to get corded, so to speak. And the final one is the crown chakra, the seventh chakra. So the crown chakra is the connection to the divine. It's how we receive energy in um, from the divine. It's higher guidance. It's like the spiritual connection, so to speak. But there's also the antikarana, which is a cord that connects us to spiritual connection. Again, we'll go into that later on. But the Angya chakra is the connection to the divine. You can think of it as where the divine pours in into our being, so to speak. And we can think of the root as where it kind of pours out, but we also have a positive and negative charge with our legs. So we receive and expel energy with our root chakra. So again, more advanced, but good things to keep in the back of your mind. So when the crown chakra is corded, I can't think of specific situations other than maybe when uh I personally feel like I'm sharing spiritual things or spiritual truths to friends or the community or my students. Sometimes I'll feel like a connection into or a chording into the crown chakra, and it's it can be more common in situations where somebody wants you to uh, is really thinking bad thoughts about you and wants you to go down mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It can be more of a sign of like a spiritual attack. But when the crown chakra is corded, or it could be a sign of wanting your energy to not be renewed, so to speak. But signs of when the third or the crown chakra can be corded, and I have this fan of them, which is kind of funny, is that you can feel like your mind is dark. It can feel like life is dark. It can feel like there is no guidance for you. You don't feel a connection to the world around you or to a higher wisdom or to your path uh, in life, your passion, your destiny. Um, it can feel like the main thing I can chalk it up to is like a feeling of darkness or a heavy darkness that sits in the mind. So just be aware of when you put yourself out spiritually, those things occur. When you put yourself out in any kind of life, those things, these chords occur. So they're really good things to be aware of, and these are the signs and symptoms that can help you be aware of them. If you feel like you need help with clearing energetic cords or would like to talk to me more about this, to learn more about this, um, check out momentousmind.com and you can book an appointment, an energy clearing appointment with me. If there is a more specific, heavier energetic problem that you're dealing with, I recommend the deep energy clearing. It's about an hour and a half of work at a distance to help clear uh, deeper, persistent issues, often related to like black magic or, negative psychic attacks. So, thank you so much for watching and make sure to subscribe and follow. And very soon, I'm going to be releasing my psychic self defense course, Lifting the Veil, to share with all of you. So, keep your eyes out for that on momentousmind.com. Thank you.